Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me today, making me just a small part of your day. You know that I appreciate you. I hope each and every one of you is having a terrific Thursday as we move into today's show, which we've got a few things to talk about. Leonard Fournette gets in a fight, which I have some thoughts on that. Because Leonard Fournette is a guy that just, when I look at him and I look at the way he plays football, he's the last person I'd want to fight. Just looking at the guy. I could think of many more people I would rather fight than Leonard Fournette. So there's that. We have some backtracking, because I talked about Tennessee yesterday, their chances of winning the East. I do think they're going to win the East, but I sounded really negative yesterday. I went back and listened to it. I think I sounded really negative. Like somehow I made it seem like Tennessee would somehow be lucky to win the SEC. And that's not the case at all, and I don't think so. So I'll clean up my negative Nancy ways. I'm going to talk about a possible return of the NCAA football video game and obviously all the problems that entails. And, of course, people who do stupid things to themselves. There's no shortage of that whatsoever. So we've got all of those things and many, many more. But before we jump into any and all of that, I would like to talk to you about where you can find us and where we can find you. I recommend Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Make sure to check us out on our website, hotnewstalkradio.com, where you can get the links to all of those social media sites. And make sure to check us out on the TuneIn Radio app. It's free on whatever mobile device you use. Again, that's the TuneIn Radio app. Simply search Hot News Talk Radio in the app, give us a favorite, and press play, and you'll have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. So yesterday I was talking about Tennessee, and Tennessee's got a fairly easy schedule overall, except for the part of the schedule where it's not. It's a very rough 4-game stretch in the middle, or not quite the middle, early in the schedule. The first half of the schedule, but closer to the middle, is their run-in with Florida, Georgia, Texas A&M, and Alabama. And Chris Goforth joined me in studio yesterday, and we talked a little bit about which of those games is the most important game for Tennessee to win. And I thought it was Florida. I thought momentum is going to be huge going into this 4-game stretch. You lose to Florida, it's going to be hard to come back and win basically the next 3 in a row. You have to beat Georgia in that, because that's your threat in the SEC East. If you don't win it, Georgia will. They will step right over you to take it. And Texas A&M, we talked about it. That's a possible trap game. The Texas A&M is going to be sneaky good this year. Okay, if you pick Texas A&M to win the SEC West, you're a little kooky, but you're not completely nuts. That's a good football team with a lot of offensive firepower. They've got their 2 transfers from Oklahoma, the running back and obviously the quarterback, Trevor Knight. I mean, they're going to be good. That's not going to be an easy game, and you don't play that one in Neyland Stadium. You don't play that game at home. So Tennessee's got it's a tough 4-game stretch there. And then, of course, you've got Alabama, and that's not only is that not a gimme, I mean, you're still not really the favorite. It's just hard to pick against Saban. So you've got those 4 games, but Florida's probably still the most important one. Chris Goforth pointing out yesterday that, you've got to stop losing to one team. If one team owns you, you don't have a very long tenure with whatever school you're at. In this case, it's Butch Jones and Tennessee. He's never beaten Florida. Florida hasn't lost to Tennessee in 11 years. They haven't lost to Tennessee in 11 years. It's been a decade. They haven't lost. It's just the way it is. You've got to beat them. You've got to get that monkey off your back. Even if you lose 2 other games, if you lose the Georgia game and you lose the Alabama game and you win out in the rest of your schedule, that puts you at 6-2 in the SEC. You still got the SEC title game. You can still win the conference, and presumably you could still make the playoff with 2 losses. It's possible. I mean, it's not just possible. It's a very likely scenario. If you have 2 losses, it has to be the right 2 losses. I say either of those schools, Georgia or Alabama, or A&M and Alabama. You can't lose to 3, but if you lose 2, you've already beaten Georgia, so the fans will let that slide. You beat Georgia last year, but it's been a decade since they've seen a win over Florida. And let me put it this way. If Tennessee loses to Florida at home in Neyland Stadium, we might need to escort Butch Jones from the stadium. I mean, they're going to tear him apart. And then when we escort him from the stadium and he makes it out alive, we're going to have to figure out a way to protect his character, because understand that Monday morning, every Tennessee fan is going to call whatever local show that they call, and it's going to be a conversation about Butch Jones and how good is he really. He may not finish. He may not finish his season. I'm just saying, because of the stakes of beating Florida. How important it is to beat Florida, how important it is to beat Alabama. But Alabama, they're the defending champs. Nick Saban, best coach in college football. They're really, really good. Florida has no quarterback. Jim McElwain, who is good, but we don't. And maybe one day will turn out to be great. But Jim McElwain's not there yet. I mean, you can't go around and get pushed around by Florida and Luke Del Rio? Get out of here. You've got to beat them this year. That's your must-win game. The most important game on your schedule, the most important game of the most important stretch of your schedule is that game. Florida. You have to win it. If you're Butch Jones, you have to win it. If you're the players, you have to win it, because, look, the reason why I sounded so negative yesterday is that there's some doubt, okay? I'm not a Tennessee fan, but I've got a soft spot for the Vols because I've lived here long enough to where, I just want them to do well. They haven't been good in my time living here, and I'd like to see them return to the level that they were when they were great. I mean, the SEC is better when they're great. Fact. There's just some schools that have that weight. Like the SEC is not better when Kentucky is great. Not at football. SEC is not better when Vanderbilt is great. SEC is better when Alabama is great, when Tennessee is great, when Georgia's great, when Florida's great. Those names are household names. We're just worse off for having a bad Tennessee team. I would like to see Tennessee win. So I have those doubts. They're fan doubts, which is different from being a contrarian, which you have some people turning on Tennessee like that, which I just think is bizarre and strange. You're just being a contrarian just because you think it's funny, or you're a Georgia fan, which that's acceptable. But just because you're tired of hearing of Tennessee is not a great reason to just decide, you know what, that school can't win the East. When you're looking at it, being a contrarian is the only reason why you would pick against Tennessee. Are there plenty of doubts? Yeah, there's plenty of doubts. And I still don't fully trust Butch Jones in the fourth quarter of games. Chris Goforth pointed out again yesterday that final drive that Tennessee had against Alabama that put the game within reach was a drive that showed how much things changed for Tennessee. But I don't know. When Tennessee has a lead, that's when I worry about them in the fourth quarter. Butch Jones had a tendency to clam up, get super conservative. That's why they lost the Florida game. He got so conservative, it didn't make any sense. And then, you end up kicking a field goal or kicking an extra point when going for 2 puts you in a better position to win. And, you tell the media after the game, well, I was just looking at the chart, and the chart said the best thing to do here was kick the field goal. Yeah, well, the chart isn't making the decision. You're making the decision. So who cares what the chart says? When Tennessee has a lead, Butch Jones gets very conservative with his play calling, and I don't like that. And I want to see that get different, because if Tennessee is going to go the distance, They're going to have to win a lot of those close games when they have a lead. I don't think that they're a team that is a bad team when they're playing from behind. It was hard against Arkansas. You just didn't have the down the field passing. But when you have a lead, that's when you make your money. That's when the big bucks get made. And that's where Butch Jones is going to keep his job. If Tennessee's got a lead and they keep putting up points and they keep beating people and they beat Florida, for goodness sakes, beat Florida. You do that, you're as good as gold. Okay, and you've got a shot in the SEC title game, either against Alabama or LSU. Alabama's schedule is brutal, which is why I don't think it'll be them. We'll talk about that a little later on. This is Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. And I saw a video today. TMZ released a video of Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette was in the parking lot fighting with one of his teammates. It did not appear to be the kind of fight that is ill-natured. You know, like guys weren't going out trying to injure one another maliciously. What the fight looked like was a bunch of college guys involved in slap fighting. They were throwing, you know, punches at each other. Now, granted, real punches. Now, you're Leonard Fournette. You've got to be smarter than this. You just have to be smarter than this. You've got a Heisman Trophy campaign ahead of you. You could win the Heisman Trophy. You are the most important player on your team. They're done without you. You're the most important player on your team. And in all likelihood, you are going to be a very, very, very high draft pick, if not a possible number one overall pick. You can't risk injury and risk humiliation and risk shame by being out in the parking lot fighting with your teammates. Now, I look at Leonard Fournette, and I'm like, somebody actually decided to fight Leonard Fournette? He's 6'1", 250. And it's muscle. Why would you ever fight Leonard Fournette? Why would you ever do that? Like on purpose? I look at Leonard Fournette and I go, no. Now, Leonard Fournette is not, I think I have to release this one day. We'll talk about it on a slower day than today. Leonard Fournette is not on the all dark alley team. The all dark alley team, you have to be a little malicious. You have to be a little violent as a human being, like an actual possible bad person to be on the all dark alley team. But the all dark alley team is the team, and I am not the creator of this concept, by the way. But the all dark alley team is the team that you would most not like to see if you were walking down a dark alley at night. Like, what athlete would you least like to see walking down a dark alley at night? Ronda Rousey, for instance, is on the all dark alley team. I don't want to see Ronda Rousey in a dark alley at night. She would whoop my tail. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in being beaten up. That's just not how that goes down for me. I have too much pride. Okay. We're at the point where let me think, because I haven't sat down and like pulled it all together, but there are some nasty people out there like Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh has stomped on people in an NFL game. When cameras were directed at him, he has stomped on multiple people after the whistle was blown. These are dirty plays. Also, Ndamukong Suh, really good at football. He's a really, really strong, enormous guy. He's got an angry face, and he plays a little dirty. You see Ndamukong Suh in a dark alley, you run in the opposite direction. You just do it. I mean, you don't think about it. There's no second guessing it. You see Ndamukong Suh, you turn around, you run. It's just how it goes down. There are just some guys that do that. There are no quarterbacks in the all dark alley team. You know, like they're just genuinely protected. There's nothing menacing about a quarterback, albeit that I don't want to piss off Phillip Rivers, but still, there's nothing menacing about a QB. Leonard Fournette, though, if you've heard Leonard Fournette, he's an intelligent guy. He's very well spoken. He's very smart, and he seems very, very nice. Leonard Fournette, despite how destructive he is as a football player, he's not on the all dark alley team. He doesn't scare me on that visceral level. He is, though, a guy I still don't want to fight. Like, I don't look at Leonard Fournette, size that guy up and go, yep, I want all 250 pounds of that guy destroying me. Why? Why would you want that? And then I looked at the dude he was fighting. Leonard Fournette was fighting one of his teammates, defensive lineman, who is, I had the weight here listed. Big guy, 305 pounds. He's 6'3". And I go, oh, yeah, you know what? That is why you would fight Leonard Fournette. There you go. Offensive lineman listed at 6'3", 305 pounds. Never mind. That man has 55 pounds on Leonard Fournette weight-wise. And actually, Leonard Fournette this season lost weight and is now listed at 235. So he's got about 75 pounds on Leonard Fournette. 75 pounds. Why on earth would you ever want to have that happen? Like, if you're Les Miles, you're not mad at Leonard Fournette because he was doing slap fighting in the parking lot with his boys, because you could hear the guys recording laughing, and they were having fun. It wasn't a malicious thing. This is stupid because of what Leonard Fournette has to lose from being injured in this. Not necessarily because of any particular law breaking, because I don't see it as a gigantic deal, because no laws were really broken. Like, nobody was involved in any domestic violence. There were no drugs. There were no guns. There were no illegal guns specifically. None of those things were involved in this particular incident. Quite frankly, maybe I'm settling, but I was relieved. I saw Leonard Fournette in fighting, and my heart skipped a beat for just a second. Then I read the article, and I felt relief is what I felt, because all he was doing was stupid guy stuff. We're not smart. People forget, because Leonard Fournette looks like a grown man, walks like a grown man, talks like a grown man, and certainly when he's playing football looks like a man against boys. People forget that Leonard Fournette, despite all appearances to the contrary, is not a grown man. Leonard Fournette is a kid. I mean, this is his third year in college. None of us are smart. How then do young men not get in trouble with this stuff all the time? And I'll tell you the secret to how it is that young men avoid getting in this kind of trouble all the time. And I'm sure that Russell, our news director, can attest to this as well. Laziness. Sometimes you are too lazy to get into trouble. I am. I never got involved in any stupid stuff, really, because I was simply too lazy to be involved in stupid stuff. It wasn't an intelligence thing. I wasn't better. It just wasn't worth the trouble. Like, all of the stupid things I could do, if I thought about, like, if I mess this up, how badly do my parents destroy me? Wasn't worth the trouble. Just wasn't. And I've done my fair share of stupid things, which I will not disclose everything on the air because my mother listens to the show. I'm just saying it's one of those things where I just was too lazy. Like, I'm not going to be caught in a slap fighting situation ever, for two reasons. One, I'm not really a fighter. And that goes back to that laziness thing. That's just too much work. Like, if I'm going to fight, I fight professionally. I train to fight. I'm not just going to casually, for fun, in a parking lot, like, whip off my shirt and go, hey guys, let's go. I've got two guns here to meet you. Right bicep and left bicep. Let's go. Not going to do that. It's too much work. And not enough to gain from it, which is nothing. Like, I'm putting myself at risk for free? Nope. I thought for a point in my life that I was willing to be a boxer. I went to a boxing gym. I had a great time. I thought boxing was a great thing to do. But make no mistake, I was never going to be fighting anybody competitively for free. Maybe for free to set up an actual career later on, but just to do it? Just cause? No, man. Never. And that's what I don't understand about this whole thing. Leonard Fournette, you have actual NFL money to make, bro. Stop it. You're listening to Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. And we're going to talk about tattoos that you shouldn't ever get on yourself next.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. I'm Larry Daniels from Daniels Insurance, and on the average, our customers save $400 a year. We offer retirement vehicles and annuities in addition to other investment products that help you protect your family. Call 423-332-4774.
Order a 16-inch pizza at Toscano's Italian Grill and get a free 10-inch pizza. Toscano's, authentic Italian food, fresh-made ingredients and sauces. When you and your bambino sit down at Toscano Italian Grill, you're served by smiling people. They make you feel like part of the family. Toscano's is easy to find. It's in the recruiting center at 153 and Lee Highway. Toscano's, scrumptious pizzas made with fresh dough, come to you bubbling hot from an authentic brick oven. Mention Hot News Talk Radio and you'll get a free 10-inch pizza when you order a 16-incher. Heaping portions, friendly, 10:30 to 10:30, 7 days a week. Toscano delivers. 805-3888. Like us on Facebook. Ask about Toscano's app. Nobody does it better. Mention Hot News Talk Radio and you'll get a free 10-inch pizza with 2 toppings when you order a 16-incher. 805-3888. Nobody does it better.
Finding just the right place to live can be a daunting task. Stop your search. In Chattanooga, the place to live is Cross Creek Villas for under $1,000 and available for immediate move-in. You can enjoy this 2-bedroom split layout, over 1,000 square feet, 9-foot ceilings, an extra-large patio or balcony. And don't forget to ask about their preferred employer program. Cross Creek Villas is a gated community offering a 24-hour fitness facility, a beautiful pool and hot tub, and Cross Creek Villas is pet-friendly. Stroll the pet park with your best friend and enjoy the free use of their business center and clubhouse. Plus, if you mention you heard this on the radio, your application fee is free. Cross Creek Villas, close to downtown off of Highway 58. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com. That's crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. That's 894-0446. Redefine the way you live at Cross Creek Villas. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. Cross Creek Villas.
Expect partly cloudy, warm and muggy weather out there through the nighttime. Overnight lows only near 75. Now, for your Friday as well as the weekend, not much change. Just a slight chance of an isolated afternoon shower. Otherwise, mainly dry, hot, and humid through Sunday with highs into the lower 90s. This forecast is brought to you by JCPenney. At JCPenney, get $10 off when you spend $25 or more with coupon. It's a brand and a deal you won't find anywhere else. That's getting your pennies worth at JCPenney. And I'm Georgine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ward.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hot 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. A child shot at 10 o'clock p.m. on Water Street, according to police. They say they were notified of the shooting after the child was taken to the hospital, not in an ambulance, but in a personal vehicle. This is now the second shooting on Water Street. Just on Sunday, 24-year-old Marquise Jackson was shot and killed on Water Street, downtown Chattanooga. If you have any information about this killing, you're asked to call 423-698-2525. The child is expected to survive non-life-threatening gunshot wounds, according to the paramedics. A man in Cleveland, Tennessee was found with a Serbian AK-47 under his bed. The police say the rifle was found with 1 round in the chamber, 29 in the magazine. And Mr. Dickey, the defendant, appeared before Judge Sandy Mattis in Chattanooga, saying that the rifle was not his. It had been purchased by his girlfriend at a pawn shop in Cleveland, although he did admit to shooting it, according to the judge. County Commission is going to be voting next Wednesday on whether or not to allow beer and wine at special events in county parks. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on. Hot 1240 Hot News Talk Radio.
Hot News Talk 1240.
This is Clutch with Keon Rose here on this Thursday afternoon. We've got a special guest for you here today. Today is Thursday. It is the Community Corner, where we talk about those who are doing work in the community and having an impact in the community. And if it pertains to sports, well, that more the better. But on the phone with us right now is Coach Bobby Dunn. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm fine. Doing good.
All right. We've got some questions for you about your engagement in the community. Also, helping to host the Community Corner is Jay, and she has some questions.
Awesome.
Okay.
So let's get right into it. So can you tell us what you are and what company organization you represent? The Scenic City Youth League. What is that?
That's Scenic City Youth Football League. We got 17 different organizations, I believe, playing in the league. Probably 72 teams or 70-something teams.
That's awesome.
And we started about 6 years ago, I think.
Okay. So can you tell us and the listeners a little bit about who you are to the Scenic City Youth League and possibly how you got involved?
I'm the president of the league some years ago, and it may be more than 6. Me and Alan Bailey, a guy rep from Hickson, were up here playing, and these coaches were bringing in kids from everywhere and picking them up and playing them. And so we decided we wanted to form a league where they were evenly drafted and they were evenly signed up, and they didn't change around all the time. So we started the league with us in Hickson, and evidently they like it because I think everybody in Chattanooga is playing in the league now. So we go to Dayton, Boynton, Rossville, Lookout Valley, Signal Mountain, east to Hamilton, Saudi Daisy, Middle Valley, and watch me forget somebody. But I think that's it.
Okay. Wow, that's pretty big. So tell us a little bit about how you all were able to come together. You said a bunch of y'all were out there playing and having a good time, and kids started showing up. So how are you all able to found and become the Scenic City Youth League?
Well, if a park wants to play in the Scenic City Youth League, they have to be voted on to play, and that's the way they get to play. Okay. If you want to go by our rules and play by our rules, then they come in and they request to be in the league, and we vote on them. And if they're not voted in, they don't play.
Okay. So could you speak a little bit more about what someone would need to do in order to get one of their kids involved?
All they have to do is go on the Scenic City Youth Football website and go to the closest park and sign up. And but our sign-ups ended here. Supposed to have ended the 1st of August, unless somebody just needs a particular age group, then they keep taking them. But that's the way we do it.
Okay. So what does your season look like?
What's that now?
What does your season, look like?
Okay, we're gonna have our jamboree at the end of the month. The last day, I believe it's the 27th or 28th. We'll play at Finley Stadium, Ridgeland High School, and Rossville. So we'll have that many games with that many teams playing. We'll have our weigh-in next Saturday at East Ridge, and we'll start playing from there.
That's pretty awesome. Sounds like you guys are getting ready to get in there. So can
Are
you
we
tell
ready
us,
to go?
are there any other, do you have cheerleaders? Are there any other groups that participate with the Scenic City Youth League?
We have cheerleaders.
Okay.
And that's it. We have cheerleaders.
Okay. So is that
and I forgot Cleveland. Cleveland came in last year, and I forgot to mention them. So that'll get me off the hook for that.
I'm glad you got that in there. So okay, you said you have cheerleaders as well. So are those cheerleaders drafted the same way? Are they just volunteers?
Yes, ma'am. They sign up. We don't have problems with them because we don't have no winning awards that we give them. We have a cheer day at Finley Stadium on a Sunday afternoon. All of them come. All of them get a trophy. All of them get to cheer out on the field, and it's a big thing for them.
So what age ranges are
you don't have them. You don't have coaches like we do in football going around trying to get kids to play with them so they make their team better.
That's awesome. I'm sorry, I was
asking. That's why it is what it is.
That's pretty cool. So what is the age group, the age range that is with you?
We go 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 and 12.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So what's something that you would want the community to know about the Scenic City Youth League?
I would want them to know that we try to be a league for all the kids. In fact, we have a rule in our league: every kid has to play 2 quarters, no exceptions. And so I think that's a plus for us.
Yeah. Okay. So have any of the kids been playing with you since then?
Oh, we've got kids that's been pumped through the program, several of them. So, we may, I said 6 years, it might be 8 years, because we've got kids now that's gone to college that played in our league.
That's awesome. What's that
Several
like?
of them. I don't have a list of them, but we have several of them that has.
That must feel pretty rewarding to see your kids move on to continue in that sports career.
I couldn't hear you.
Sorry. It must feel pretty awesome to see those kids continuing on, yeah?
Oh yeah, it's a true blessing to see them, and that's the reward you get, and that's what you get out of it.
So,
and that's all. And, there's no money or nothing like that, but you get them in there and get them to play, and that's all good.
So I guess that leads me to my next question, and I know we're coming up here on time. But for you, what are some of the most rewarding things, or even if you can think of one moment that was particularly rewarding for you being part of the Scenic City League?
We had twin boys playing football last year, and probably one of them was one of the best in the city. He got hit in a ball game, and his that hurt back there in his kidney area, and he thought he just was just hurt like that. But he went to the doctor and found out he had cancer. They removed the kidney, and he's doing well now. So that's very rewarding to know that you might have saved a life.
Wow.
And then that's what the doctor says. If he hadn't found it when he did, it could have been devastating. Wow. But he's a real great kid, and they won't let him play contact sports this year. But that's probably when they say that it saved his life. You hear so many people talking about injuries in football that you don't hear anything about the good things.
That's true. That's true. So as we're coming up here on time, I'd like to ask you, what would you like us and the listeners to know about how we can support you and the Scenic City Youth League?
Well, a lot of parks do a lot of different fundraising. And if they come by and ask you to help them, that's something that it's a great thing for them. I gave away 4 sets of uniforms today because they couldn't afford them. They didn't have them.
So you're saying that needs that you might have outside of support, financial support, you need uniforms. What are other things that different groups would need?
Well, we need uniforms, shoulder pads, helmets, and that's quite expensive. Pads and pants and shoes, and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Okay. And so, what are some ways we can get in contact with you? You mentioned a website earlier. What is that website?
SCYFL.net, I believe.
SCYFL.
But you can call. You can give them my number. Everybody else in the world calls me. Just give them my number. If they have something that they'd like to help us with, have them to call me, and we'll take care of it.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much
for
your time.
423-596-1353.
So 423-596-1353 to get in contact with you, Coach Dunn, with the Scenic City Youth League.
That's
and
right.
SCYL.net is short for Scenic City Youth League. Or
Short
Google
for Scenic
search.
City Youth Football League.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you, and thank you for what you do for our community.
And I appreciate you for letting me do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, Coach.
Uh-huh.
This is Clutch with Keon Rose, and you were listening to the voice of Coach Bobby Dunn of the Scenic City Youth Football League. Thank you to Ms. J for coming in and helping to host the segment there, asking the questions. If you have anybody that you would like to nominate for a community corner, I would recommend heading on over to our Facebook page. Simply just type the name of the person that you would like to nominate and type community corner. And we'll try and track them down and feature them on the show, or you can send us a direct message with their information, and then we don't have to track them down. That is huge, though. Being a kid that grew up, and I moved around a lot, and I did not have all of the experiences with youth sports that a lot of my friends have. I know that I missed out. I know I missed out a lot. And what Coach Bobby Dunn is doing for the community is huge, because the lessons that you learn playing sports with other kids help you out a ton. While I sound a certain way on the air, in actual real life, I can be fairly awkward. Well, when you learn to socialize with other kids, like playing sports, gathering together, being with them, that's when that stuff happens. The Scenic City Youth Football League is hugely important to Chattanooga and a lot of those surrounding areas, your Hickson, Soddy Daisy, Cleveland, Rossville. I know I'm going to miss somebody else also, but just the hugeness of being able to have a league where kids are coming together, they're playing football, they're learning the lessons that football can teach you about toughness and perseverance and teamwork. These things carry on throughout your life. And so our special thanks to Coach Bobby Dunn for joining us today on the Clutch Community Corner. Now, back to the rest of the show here, because I want to get into an idea that I had about tattoos. I'm not a huge fan of tattoos. Let me say that differently. If you have tattoos, you're fine, because you have a tattoo on yourself that expresses who you are and what that says about you. That's cool. I'm not a huge fan of tattoos on me. And why am I not a huge fan of tattoos on me? Because I'm indecisive. I can't figure out exactly what it is that I want on myself that's going to be on me forever that I would like to stay there. I can't figure anything out. There's just nothing there that I want. And I can't keep my computer desktop background the same for longer than 3 weeks. So there's no way on earth that I would put a tattoo on myself knowing this about myself. But there are tattoos that nobody is allowed to have. And I mean nobody. And if you do this, I don't know what to tell you, except you're wrong and you're probably not a good person. If you tattoo on yourself a tattoo of whatever team you root for and the year in which you predict they will win their next championship, you are a clown. And that is a bad move. Do not ever do this. I have talked about this on this show enough, so I will not go into all the details and the nitty-gritty of it again. Simply do not do it. But the next series of tattoos you should never, ever, ever put on yourself is tattoos in a language that you don't speak. Don't ever tattoo on yourself something in Chinese or Japanese or Hindi or whatever. Do not tattoo these things on yourself unless you speak that language or you are from the country where that language is spoken ancestrally. If that's not the case, get out of here with that. That's a horrible idea. And the reason why I bring this up is because people tattoo all kinds of things on themselves, and they don't realize what it says, and they don't realize what exactly the situation is until they start to dig a little bit deeper into it. And I feel like this season of football is like that, where people brand themselves, maybe not with actual tattoos, but with horrible opinions. And their horrible opinions are their contrarian Alabama ideals. Like people who think that Alabama's finished, for instance. I think this is going to be an off year for Bama just because of the amount of talent that they lost to the NFL after winning the championship game. You just have down years. You just lose a lot of talent. I mean, they never fall off at running back, I guess, or offensive line, but like all the other positions, you just can't be a factory forever. Some years you're going to have off years. I think this looks like an off Alabama year. I think they retool. I think they come back next year stronger than ever. I don't see a repeat on the horizon for them. But if you're somebody that just doesn't like Alabama and you think they're not good because you don't like them, that's you are the person who tattoos another language on yourself. If you are somebody who just you just don't like LeBron James because you don't like him, you tattoo yourself in another language. And that's a bad idea because, again, you don't know the depth of the situation and you're not interested in knowing the depth of the situation. I had a buddy who tattooed himself with words I cannot even say on the air. He got words on himself in Japanese. He tattoos himself. And, basically the words were supposed to say big, he wanted to say big boss or whatever, and it says big bleep. I won't even allude as to what word it is. I'm just saying he did that to himself willingly, and I don't know what to say except that we all relentlessly mock him now. You just don't tattoo stuff on yourself if you don't know what it is you're tattooing on yourself, and don't form half-baked sports opinions if you don't know what it is that you are, what the opinion is that you have. We were talking about Tennessee earlier, and I promise, because I've been on Twitter. I'm on Twitter all the time. I hear what people say. I see what people say, and I read it constantly. People are so ready to watch Tennessee lose. And I don't know why. Why? It's not like Tennessee is like Alabama. Alabama has been winning for a long time. And Alabama fans, y'all are terrible about you guys are terrible with pride. Like, you guys are terrible about winning with some level of dignity. You're just bad at it. You do not win graciously. You just win, and then everybody's got to know about it. Like, you just don't ever stop. It's not like we've had that with Tennessee. Tennessee is happy that people think that they're going to be a top 10 team this year. And I said last week, I think you're a Vols fan and you're happy that people feel like you're supposed to be a top 10 team. No, you shouldn't. You should feel disrespected. You're going to be a top 4 team this year just based on your talent and your schedule. I mean, just on that. So unless what they're saying is Tennessee's just about to underachieve, which is possible, but really, then you're having a contrarian opinion. I would rather assume that a team with a bunch of good football players on it is going to succeed and have them disappoint me than just be a contrarian and get shown up. That stuff blows up in your face, man. And you know what? I'm not a famous person. I can't hide from this. You will see me around town. You stream this show on YouTube. You know what my shirts look like. I can't hide from this. And we all know it. Each and every single last one of us knows it. I can't hide from making terrible predictions about stuff. So yeah, no, I'm not going to bet against Tennessee winning the SEC East, and I'm not going to bet against them winning the SEC when they are a favorite. The favorite to win the SEC ought to be LSU. They've got the most favorable schedule of the SEC West teams, and they've got Alabama at home. What more could you ask for? Tennessee's just got to finish 6-2 and win the title game. They finished 6-2 in conference play. I mean, I'm not saying it's a wrap, but I'm saying at that point, they are, just demonstratively ahead of the 8 ball there. You're listening to Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. I wanted to get to a couple of stories that I did not get to yesterday because I had Chris Goforth in studio. And when you have a guy like that in studio who just knows enough and knows a lot about high school and college football, you just got to ask him those questions. So we never got around to John Saunders and the passing of John Saunders at ESPN. Died at 61 years old. Not all of the details surrounding his death have been released, but he did struggle with diabetes. He did have many injuries from his time playing hockey. So, I mean, those were things. But John Saunders, to me, is a guy that his coverage of different sports, possibly the most versatile guy at ESPN and one of the more likable personalities. Like, I can't think of anybody that I like more than him. I think I like Tim Kirkjian and I like Hannah Storm. Outside of that, those are really good TV personalities. And I really like Van Pelt now that he's back on at night. That's it. I mean, in a network that is continually losing great talent, John Saunders was a guy that you knew ESPN was going to try and hang on to that guy. I mean, look how versatile he was. He's the voice of College Game Day. In the mornings, Saturday mornings, College Game Day. John Saunders is always there. Covers college football. Does play-by-play for college basketball. Covers hockey. Covers the NFL. I mean, the guy just knew his stuff, and he was all over the place. And there's something to be very much respected about that. I don't know anything about John Saunders, but anytime we lose a broadcaster, I feel it, because those are the guys that, at least to me, I look up to them. I look up to them because I'm trying to be more like them. And if you are somebody who works in an industry, like, when that person, when people in your industry, when giants of your industry, you feel it when they go. I mean, you really do. We're going to miss the void that he's going to leave in sports broadcasting. It's going to be a gigantic void, and I don't know how ESPN is going to fill that in terms of a personality, but certainly there's nothing that you can do to replace the man himself, because from all accounts, he was a great person, a great man, a great guy, and someone who was absolutely enjoyable to be around. Also, in news that I did not get to yesterday, John Mullen was accused of calling the cops on former running back Josh Robinson. He claimed that Dan Mullen called the cops on him after Robinson, of course, was working out on the campus. And Dan Mullen said that, of course, he did not call the cops on Josh Robinson. And in fact, was surprised when the question was asked to him whether or not he had done so. Turns out Josh Robinson parked his car on the track, and the track coach called the police. But how entitled do you have to be to look at a track and go, you know what, this is a good place to park my car? Like, other people are going to be using that there, dude. What are you doing? He parked on the track, and the track coach called it in. So yeah, never mind. I was gonna sit there and take his side, like, look at all the college players being marginalized, but not you. What a stupid thing to do. So disrespectful. You're listening to Hot 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch, and you'll see me in 10 more minutes.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you